Welcome to the Chain Out Podcast with your hosts, Jeremy and Daryl.
That's right. With your hosts, Jeremy and Daryl. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 119 of the Chain Out Podcast. How we doing?
I think we're doing fantastic.
Yeah. How's the chat doing? We got a nice, robust chat to start this evening off, right?
Yeah, we got Dina's in the chat. Mike is in the chat. Sonia. Text Team MJ.
Oh, I like that. That's a good handle.
Yeah.
And a good time
Dylan,
for that
Sam.
handle, too, this time of year as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they're coming in, promoting their goods.
Well, there you go. Once we start making some money, we might need their services.
Exactly.
Well, Daryl, I'm going to start you off with a couple names here. Avery Jenkins, 2025. Scott Stokely, 2024. Glenn Whitlock, 2021. Elaine King, 1997.
Okay.
And Ken Climo, 1995. You know what they have in common?
I do, but why don't you go ahead and tell me?
Those are all people who have been inducted into the Disc Golf Hall of Fame. And I know we've only been part of the disc golf community for a few years. But do you think maybe one day one of us might also get our name in that Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I think you got a lot more to do yet.
But we got time, right?
You got lots of time.
Got lots of time. Well, tonight's guest is another person who has earned that honor. 2003 Hall of Fame inductee and one of PDGA's finest, Brian Hoeniger, will be joining us to chat about PDGA Canada, disc golf at the Olympics, and lots more in about 15 minutes. But we got some top of show to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a bit of an update on Edga, local news.
Well, when you got the vice president as one of the co-hosts of a disc golf association,
Yeah.
you got to get the news out there.
You got to know all the stuff that's happening, right?
That's right.
Yeah. No, we had a break 2 weeks ago from putting league.
Okay.
The area that we used was already booked, so we're back at it again last week. Got a few more weeks to go. Still more. I think we got like 6 more weeks to go. Maybe 4 more weeks. I think it was 8 weeks in total.
Has your creativity all dried up, or are you still coming up with fun holes to play? Or
we do for the first hour. It's the 15 to 35 feet, 5 putts each, 3 rounds. That normally goes pretty not quickly, but it goes for the first hour.
Right.
And then sometimes we're looking and people are still practice putting, which is great. Get in your practice, while we can, while it's still indoors. But last week I think we kind of upset a few people to start with, because we have 5 baskets set up, and we said, okay, we're just going to take these 2 baskets and we're going to move them about 20 to 25 feet apart, and we're going to set up a horseshoe game.
Okay.
So people can stand on, individually, teams of 2, whatever. 2 discs, throw them back and forth between the baskets.
That's interesting.
1 point for 1 disc, 3 points for 2 discs.
Sure.
So people were like, what are you doing? We're like, we're just going to set up horseshoe. Oh, I don't know how to play it. Like, well, we'll teach you. Like, just come here and do this. So then we had a couple people try it. And then we had so many people want to do it that we said, okay, what we'll do is we'll take another 2 baskets and we'll leave 1 if people still just want to practice.
Just want a random putt.
So then we walked over to these 2 baskets. What are you doing? We're setting up horseshoe. What's that? I don't know how to play it. So, but then once I think everybody got into it, I think they kind of enjoyed it a bit.
Yeah, that's good. Were you getting them to do that horseshoe putt too?
There was no restrictions on putting technique.
Putt. Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha. It would be a good way to practice that one.
Yeah, no, it was good. They started off with a couple of individuals. Then I said, you know what, 2 more people. Hey, why don't you join up as 2 teams? Then we had a 3-person team. And then that's why we got the second set up, because there were so many people.
Well, that's good. It sounds like
we had
it's going quite well.
Yeah, we had a lady drop in from Winnipeg. I don't think she dropped in from Winnipeg.
No.
She was in the city for that reason, but she heard that we were doing putting league. So shout out to Anita if you are watching. She came and participated in the putting league, and then she actually went out on the Saturday and had a round of disc golf with Jana.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so it was good to get her involved in the community.
Yeah, and it's good that you mentioned Jana, because I actually had a chance to play with her on Saturday as we wrapped up the Winter League. It was the last week. We were over at Rundle. It was another cold one, but a great card. We had a 5-person card. I played with Jana, Jason, Kevin, and Drew, who were new people for me that I didn't get a chance to play with before.
Okay.
And you know what? I ended up shooting my best round ever at Rundle.
Good.
Shot a -2, and I think it might. I'm not the math wizard. I'll leave that to Brock.
Yeah.
But I think I might have got myself up to 3rd place for Tier 2.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome, but it's not as awesome as the story that was happening in Tier 1. And Dylan, who's in the chat, was part of that. So Dylan, Uncle Steve, and Keenan, and also Matt Dwyer was on that card. And I know 3 of them at least were within 2/3 of a stroke of each other. So they played all Winter League to get down to the last round, and then to get down to the last 2 holes where it was all tied up. So it's 2 holes to decide a whole league.
Wow.
And any of them could have won it. But it was Uncle Steve who took it down.
Uncle Steve,
Yeah. He ended up winning it. So thanks a lot to Edga and Brock for running Winter League. I've enjoyed it. Not every day. Some days it's pretty cold, but what I do enjoy is it keeps my streak alive, which you know I care about.
You do.
And it allows me to suffer with other people when it is extremely cold.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, that most of the group is going to keep heading out Saturdays for the next little bit. So if you want to go out and join some other players, it's going to be a beautiful day on Saturday. Above 0 up here, and head over to Hermitage for noon and get another round of disc golf in.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why don't we move on to some tournament reviews, Jeremy?
Sounds like a good
We always
plan.
like to cover the tournaments across Canada. So last week, there were 9 tournaments and events in Canada and across 5 different provinces. 4 of them were ice bowls. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking this is what I was saying last week. We didn't change the script.
Sounds pretty
right?
familiar.
Yeah. No. These were different tournaments. They were, of course, obviously raising money for charities and food bank donations and things like that. This week, though, we're going to highlight the Thunderdome 7.
Thunderdome.
This one was held out in Burlington, Ontario at the local soccer dome. It was a 2-disc, 3-speed or lower, random doubles, indoor tournament.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and it was also celebrating the tournament director and friend of the show, Chris O'Zollin's 41st birthday.
Yeah, now, you're not going to make us sing for his birthday, are you?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Happy birthday, Chris.
So they were playing 4 rounds of a 7-hole course. Now, they didn't even start until 10 p.m.
What?
And they carried on until 1 a.m.
Whew. I don't know if I could stay up that late
Maybe
anymore.
that was the only time they could get the dome.
Probably.
Yeah. So they started off with a celebratory beverage at the West Town pub. And then eventually the coveted Thunderdome crown was awarded.
Do you think Chris took a little tip from our McNiven's pub announcement tournaments maybe?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we reached out to Oz. He said it started off as a way to celebrate his birthday and to stop going disc golf stir crazy in the winter. It took on a life of its own and now quickly sells out. They make 100-foot to 180-foot holes using the indoor soccer nets, divider nets, blow-up bumpers, and fans to create such a fun course inside. So this last event, there were 7 aces, 16 medal hits, and enough candy to give a person's pancreas nightmares.
That's words straight from Chris, I believe, the pancreas part.
Yeah. It was the first year with a repeat winner, so it makes for some even matchups. Chris hopes other clubs might try the same idea in their cities and towns. And I know we've got the indoor field where we use we do putting league, but on the south side of the city, we also have the indoor soccer dome there as well. So
That's true.
yeah, I don't know how busy they get. Something to look forward to.
Well, and it looks like maybe Chris was the winner there. I saw that Thunderdome necklace around his neck there in the picture.
Right.
And then I also saw in that group picture another familiar face in Tobin Isaac was hanging out there on the end of the picture.
Was he in there as well?
On the far left there.
Oh, yeah, you got him right there. I'm sure there's a few other people in there we can shout out as well. But
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, it sounds like a good event. But not only were there tournaments happening this past weekend, but some of our Canadian tournaments for this year for 2026, finally all the protected divisions in those registrations had all passed. So they opened up to open divisions.
Right.
2 of them being Spring Runoff down in Lethbridge, which is always a good start to the year out west here, and then Nationals as well. And I've been able to get into both. So
Nice.
Excited about that.
Yeah.
And then, both of the 2 nationals I attended, Clearwater and then you and I back in Ontario last year, they were both great. And Dylan and Sam told us here on this podcast that they're going to work to try and level it up yet again. Like that should always be the goal. So I'm excited to see that. Now, Spring Runoff, when I last checked, was just about halfway full, 101 out of 220 players registered. And Nationals was already 3/4. It could be even more so now full, but it was 319 out of 450 spots. And the divs are getting pretty sizable for a lot of divs that maybe only see 1 or 2. They're getting maybe 3 or 4, or the ones that are 10 are getting 20 type thing. So there's 54 MPOs registered, 15 FPOs in Canada, which is fantastic. And then even 30 MA40s in my division. So yeah. Now, if you've registered for either of those events, or if you registered for anything else in the last week or so, let us know in the comments. Tell us what else is going on and what you've got yourself set up for this year.
Yeah. All right, let's do a quick trip south. Let's do a recap of the Pro Tour that started this weekend. It was Superior, it was Prime, or you could even say it was Supreme.
I see what you did there.
The first event of the Disc Golf Pro Tour taking place down in Brooksville, Florida. Supreme Flight Open. It was a great watch, Jeremy. I don't know if you got the chance to watch any of it. On the
highlights, I got to see a few. Yeah.
On the MPO side, Ricky Wysocki, the man who apparently was working on a new grip, seemed to got it figured out. He took down the tournament win by 1 stroke over Gannon Burr. I believe he was on 2nd or 3rd card.
Wow.
And started the year off right with 10,000 American dollars in his pocket.
Ooh.
On the FPO side, Owen Scoggins took the win from Chase Card by 4 strokes over Holland Hanley and Taylor Chosick. That earned her 6,000.
Nice way to start the year. Put a little cash in your pocket like that.
Makes it all worth it.
Yeah. Well, we had 3 Canadians in the FPO field. We had Karen Martel from Victoriaville, Quebec, and I heard them announce her as Victoria. And I don't know if they just thought that there was just, it's like Canada's that small place. Sophia's from Victoria. Karen must be from Victoria too. But no, Victoriaville. And she tied for 39th. She had a strong first round shooting a +2. And she even got a little bit of coverage there on DGN for a big putt. I don't know if she got more than that, but I did see the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rebecca Dunn, she finished tied for 11th with Rebecca Cox, earning herself $700. She had an amazing first round. She was -9 after 16 holes. Yeah, and that would have been enough to have her in the lead. But then 17 and 18 had some teeth, pulling her back, putting her down to tied for 8th. After the first round, she shot 2 more good rounds after that, which had her at a 965 rated event, 11 points higher than her rating.
Yeah. And then Sophia Donica from Victoria, BC, had the highest finish of our Canadian contingent with a solo 7th place, earning herself $1,150. She was so consistent, Daryl, through the tournament because she shot a -3 in round 1, a -3 in round 2, and a -3 in round 3. And in the first round, she got an eagle on hole 18. So she was really showing her stuff down at the Supreme Flight Open. And she also got a chance. We see this happen really often as the Canadians go down, and yet they still manage to find a way onto each other's cards.
Yeah.
And she played with Rebecca there on the 3rd card for round 2, and then jumped up to Chase Card to finish it off her tournament.
Yeah. What a great start for our Canadians there. The next event is the Big Easy Open down in Narlands. Is that how you say it?
Louisiana.
That'll be in a couple of weeks' time. It doesn't look like we have any Canadians in that tournament, but as a new tournament this year, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it's going to be a great event.
Yeah, I want to see. I always want to see what those types of courses look like, because that one is still in that kind of swamp type belt. I don't know. Like it has some different geography to it is what I'm thinking. So we'll see.
Yeah. It's always good to see a new course.
Yeah. Now, these 2 mugs that you see here on the Chain Out podcast, we're happy to have 2 amazing sponsors taking care of us this year in BR Disc Golf and Disc Republic. At either website, places where you can get all the discs, everything you need for the year. Use the code CHAINOUT. It's a promo code that'll help support your buddies here, and we'd appreciate it if you use it. Now, if you check out BR Disc Golf, I was over on the website. I've gotten into the habit of doing this, just kind of perusing, seeing what I could find.
Yeah.
Brendan's got disc doctors there. So this is not a disc. It's a disc doctor.
Yeah.
And
I've heard of them.
Oh, you've heard of them?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like when I get nicks in my discs, or if I got some sharp edges, it's actually PDGA approved. You can smooth it right out.
Yeah.
And be ready to go.
You know what you need to do?
What's that?
Stop throwing in the parking lot.
It's true. Stop doing that. Stop hitting vehicles, and your discs will not need a disc doctor.
There you go.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And on the Disc Republic side, Jason has got so much going on. He says right now you can pre-order the Discraft Sled, which is a 3-2 -1-2 putt approach disc that's been anticipated from what we understand.
Yeah.
And then he also has some Gyropalooza boxes back still in stock. So he's got 2024s and 2025s. And I was wondering, because there was those brick and mortar boxes where you could win that golden ticket.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had a 2024 box and you got a golden ticket, would they let you use it this year? Do you think?
Maybe there's no expiry date.
No. Oh,
yeah. Look for the.
It's like a
date.
Michael Scott, The Office type thing, I think. And then the other thing, when I was looking, I found on the website, and this is a huge mouthful, but it's an amazing looking disc. It's the Juliana Korver 2026 Tour Series, Innova, Proto, Glow, Halo, Star, Mamba. It's got such a cool snake design on it. They really did a good job. And with the dual color, like there's a really cool pink and blue one that I saw.
Yeah.
And at 11.6 minus 5.1, and an Innova for me never flies that understable. So it's probably just a straight disc for me.
Well, it would be for you. For me, it is my Hoeniger flip disc.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So either way, there's going to be one for you, 165 to 169 grams. Go check them out.
Yeah. All right, we're just rolling through this top of show here.
Yeah, we're going to get there.
Project 15, that's the giveaway that was our current one. We always have
Do you mean this one?
that one right there. That's
This,
the Champion Proto Glow Firebird.
That's what it is, all
Yeah.
right, with Project 15.
The
Oh, wait.
P15 logo,
There's a mini.
a P15 mini,
Oh, wait, there's like
a
one of those
P15
Velcro patches?
Velcro patches,
Mm-hmm. And,
That's it.
And a foil sticker.
and a foil sticker as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the draw ended, the giveaway ended on Tuesday.
Who won?
I've done
Who
the
won?
draw. Do you want
Who
to find
won?
out?
Let's find out.
All right, here we go. Somebody is going to win.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You could. That's a storybook ending. You
I
couldn't
know.
have written it better if you tried.
I swear to God, like we don't ever do it anyway, but there's no way that was fixed. It was a Firebird going to Mr. Tim Plamondon. It's not a Nate Sexton Firebird, but maybe he'll find a place for it somewhere.
Well, you know what? If he takes it to Nationals this year,
Yeah.
he can get Nate Sexton to sign it, and then technically it's a Nate Sexton
Yeah,
Firebird.
there you go.
That is awesome.
Yeah, congratulations, Tim. That'll be getting its. You know,
I was going to say, get me your address and we'll get it to you, but I think we'll be able to find you.
Yeah, exactly. You'll be out on the course somewhere. Next up is going to be our Chantal Badinsky giveaway. Like I say, just giveaway after giveaway after giveaway on this podcast, Jeremy.
That's right.
We're going to be giving away a signed Fractal F7 with a signed Chantal Badinsky Brixton card as well.
That's right.
Tim is actually in the chat. There you go. He's happy he won.
Let's go.
If you want a chance to win that one, you'll stay tuned to our socials. We'll get it up on Instagram or Facebook, and maybe we'll even just do a Facebook only, but seeing as this one only went out on Instagram.
Yeah,
We'll
maybe.
work something out. We do have another Chantal M4, Fractal M4, with another signed Brixton card, but that one, and this will be exciting for people in the chat, if you want a chance to win that disc, you're going to need to head over to She's Up First.
That's right.
Because that'll be part of the whole sponsorship that we're doing for that event. So head over there. Yeah.
Super exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
gonna be
love
good.
the giveaways. Always makes me smile when we give away a disc. So after the episode, be sure to head on over to
Sorry.
our. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Tim would just said he likes to thank the Academy.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, and everyone else who helped support him
Exactly.
to get another Firebird in his hands. Yeah, so after the episode, be sure to head over to Patreon, get the free link to join us for Around the Basket. We chat even more disc golf. We interact even more with the chat. You guys get to help direct the conversation. And we've joined a Heiser Flip one and done pool that's with the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We made our first pick at the Supreme Flight Open with our Patreon members. We'll talk about how that went and get ready to pick for New Orleans, as well as other chat that comes up. So Daryl,
And there's a quiz.
oh, we got a quiz? You didn't tell me we got a quiz.
Yeah, there's a quiz tonight.
Sweet. Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Now, how's our green room looking? Do we have a guest there?
Our guest is impatiently walking backwards and forwards. They've gone through all the water.
Water. You
Yeah.
put water in there.
Yeah,
We're
we
going to
like
make
to
sure
keep,
they're hydrated.
yeah, keep them hydrated. So,
All right, well, let's get to this.
okay.
So tonight's guest actually lives the desert island discs dream, Daryl.
Yeah.
He lives on Toronto Island. He has discs, and there's a course on the island. So isn't that the desert island
It's pretty
dream?
much, that's what we said, yeah.
He's held many roles with the PDGA, including Canada Manager, Executive Director, and now International Program Director. Join us in welcoming Brian Hoeniger back to the show.
Pleasure to be here, gentlemen.
Hey, Brian, how are you doing?
To clarify, I retired at the end of last year as International Director.
Oh.
I am now just the Canada Manager, but I also advise the Executive Director on international issues.
Perfect. We love that you get right in there for us, because that's one of the things we know, that you're always doing things for PDGA and changing it fairly regularly. You've held a lot of roles, so thank you for the clarity on that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to have you back on the podcast again. For some people that are maybe new to the podcast, they should go back and check out episode 60. And can you believe it? That was back in January of 2025. And that episode, we did your origin story. We did your desert island discs. We chatted about disc golf and everything like that. So it's been a while since we've had you on, but we're glad to have you back.
Pleasure. Let's do it.
Yeah. So we know, like you mentioned there about retiring as the international director. Well, we know you travel quite a bit for your disc golf and your work and things like that. Are you joining us from Toronto tonight?
I am joining you from our bungalow on Toronto Island. That was PDJ headquarters from 1997 to 2005.
That's amazing.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, last year when we headed to Ontario for Nationals, we took a day after the tournament. We headed out to Toronto, took the ferry, crossed to the island. We know why you made that island your home. It was such a beautiful, peaceful place out there. You're still close enough to Toronto, but so just far enough away that you don't have to deal with it all.
Life is a ferry schedule, especially at this time of year when there's ice in the harbor. But yeah, when I was a playing fanatic at our beloved sport quite a few years ago now, my wife and I had worked overseas. When we came back, we got a rental on the island. And when the legislation to safeguard the future of the small community of 200 houses and about 700 people was coming through at the provincial government, and people had the last chance to sell their house for what they could get for it, my wife went door to door, sell us your house. And a lady who had bust her hip on one of the bridges in the previous winter said, I want to move back to Victoria once I came for my last years, and I will sell you my house. And that was 1992.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy to think, because it was funny. I should have put two and two together, but it wasn't until we were doing more research on you for this episode that it kind of sunk into my brain that we were on Toronto Island, and obviously we interviewed you and we learned all about it. And it wasn't until we were doing the research and I was like, oh, wait a minute. You actually live on that island that we were walking around, and we probably may have even walked past. Are you situated near the course? I think I remember you saying that you're fairly close. We may have even walked past your house.
You wouldn't have gone past my house because it's a turn over a bridge on the walk from the ferry dock to the course.
Okay.
But my house is about a 3-minute bike ride from T number 1.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, and I can tell you, Brian, I loved playing that course out there. And one of our friends, Brendan, who came with us as well and sponsor of the podcast, he even donated a disc to the port while he was there. He did his part. He put one in the water that went to never come back. But I'll tell you, I had an almond croissant from the little cafe that is right after you get off the ferry there. And I still think about it today, and it is now like the benchmark for every other croissant I eat is that one from Toronto Island.
Oh, that's a cool place run by a family in the community, and they, they do good, mostly vegetarian food, and they've got a little bar there to make the Islanders happy on the late summer evening. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, it was good. And if I'm back in Toronto,
you can't order a croissant today. It's closed.
Fair enough. But yeah, anytime that I'm back in Toronto, that was probably the first time I've been to the island since I was maybe a kid, if I remember right. And even, it would have been when I was that small. But anytime I'm back, if I can make the time, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a really good course. it's, part of the appeal of the course is the location and the fact that you take the boat there and you get the beautiful view of the skyline in a couple places along the course, and it's nicely shaped. The course, because it's challenging to get to, isn't as heavily played as some other courses. But if you want to talk about one flaw in the course, it's the fact that there's about 1 meter of elevation change on the course. The island is a sandbar, but it has 2 tees and 2 baskets on every hole, so you can play anything from the shorts to the shorts to the longs, and anything you want in between. And it was the site of the 1987 PDGA World Championships.
Yeah. That was one of the things I thought about specifically, Brian, when I was playing, was thinking that, this was where the World Championships were, like in the early days of the game on, probably very similar holes. There's probably been minor changes, but same type of holes that I was playing, and they still beat me up probably as much as they beat people up back then as well. So, but
there was only one par 4 back then. It was, if you're playing the longs to longs now, it's 7,500 feet, and the whole course was a mile or 5,300 feet back then. But there was a second temp course that, as you walked away further from where the course starts and you got to, like holes 8 through 12 or something, they had a temp course there for the World. So there were 2 courses, the permanent one and one that was just there for the week. And gradually we convinced the Parks Department to let us have more land, partly because in the wintertime, disc golfers are among the few visitors to the island. At least it was that way for many years. Now there's so many condos along the waterfront that even on cold winter days, there's a lot of people coming over to the island just to have a nice walk in a park.
Nice.
And of course, back when that championships was on the island, that was when they were doing more than 4 rounds of disc golf as well.
Yeah, there were a lot of rounds they were doing. I remember, Elaine gave us a lot.
I played a lot of Worlds in the 90s, and the standard model was 4 courses times 2 rounds a day equals 8 rounds, plus semis and finals on Saturday or Sunday.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, that would have been the day.
That's how you get good.
That is for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, you mentioned it right at the beginning there that I thought, as you said, with the different roles that you've had, you were international director. You're now back to PDGA Canada Manager. You were also executive director at one point. Are there any other roles you've held over the years with PDGA, or did we catch them all?
Well, I was a member of the board a couple of times in the early 90s. I came in twice when somebody left before their tenure was over, and then I lost 2 elections to big names in the sport at the time, so household names. So all the Americans voted for them, and they won. But that's a long, long time ago. When I was hired, which was the beginning of 1997, the PDGA was a 1-person operation. That title was the administrator, and I held that title for about 5 years, and then they promoted me to be the first executive director. Gotcha. And that is when that time between 97 and 05, as I mentioned, was when the office was in this very room that I'm talking to you. And after a couple of years, my wife became the memberships manager because it was too much for one person. We did manual data entry of all the tournament results, all the memberships. I managed all the finances and so on. Answer the phone, answer the emails. It became, as we grew from 4,000 current members to 7 or 8, we also did all the fulfillment. So every membership package was fulfilled and mailed starting from this little place on the island. And we would put them I had a bicycle cart. We were very blessed because we had a Canada Post sorting house about 400 meters from the ferry dock. So I would go in there, grab giant postal bags. My wife would fill them up with new member packages. I would throw them in the cart and throw them in the bin already with postage on them, and off they went into the system.
That's it.
So
we've heard of the Pony Express, but in those days it started with the ferry. Is how it started.
Yeah, and a bicycle and a cart, which the cart is still around. But from 05 to '07, we moved to Georgia when we were building the International Disc Golf Center.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2007, partly because we would worked our butts off for 11 years, partly because the laws governing the island said we could only be away for 3 years consecutively. And if we stayed longer, our house would have to be sold and we'd never get to live here again. We returned to Canada, and by that time I had started the international program, and I handed over to Brian Graham, who got us the IDGC in his hometown of Augusta, Georgia. I had handed over to him. He took over as executive director. Other Americans became the tour manager and the memberships manager. And my wife and I moved back here. She went back into nursing, and I started doing the international director job and the Canada manager job. So that started in '07.
Yeah.
And I did that half-time along with working for a bicycle tour company that cycles around the world. I worked for them as well. But when we came out of COVID and disc golf went kaboom, I couldn't do that job anymore because the disc golf job just got too big.
Yeah.
So that was at the end of 21. And at the end of 25, after I had worked for the PDGA for 29 years, I said, wow, it's time to slow down. I'm 69 now, so it is time to enjoy the fruits of my labors and not have to put out as many human fires as I have over the year at the PDGA.
Yeah.
And so it's just a few months into it now. I've been away the last couple of months riding my bike overseas, and now I'm back. And another season is starting in Canada, not to mention around the world, as witness the Supreme Open, which I plugged into last weekend as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I did pick up on one thing there. I think I know another reason why you might have wanted to slow down, because if you're 69 now, I think the MP70 division better get worried because somebody's got a chance to rip it up this year.
Yeah, I consider I was a pro for a long time. But I stopped being a serious player in 2007 when cycling became my hobby. I'd done everything there was as a player. I played 13 pro worlds, played in Japan, played in Europe. And I had some injuries over the years playing disc golf, hyperextended my elbow. One of my knees is a bit compromised. And my game was deteriorating. So partly due to age, partly due to injury, partly due to, not putting in as much practice as I did when I was absolutely fanatical as a player. So I actually told Mr. Greg Hearn that maybe I'll sign up for amateur 70.
Oh,
because
okay.
I stand a chance in that. I don't stand a chance in Pro 70 because I play like twice a year.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's
fair enough.
Yeah. Just listening to you describe all these different countries that you got to travel, with your hobby and with disc golf. Last year, when you still held the international director role, you definitely lived up to that international part because you headed out to Finland for the PDGA Professional Disc Golf World Championships out there last summer. How did you enjoy that experience out there?
Well, it wasn't just Finland. The trip started in Estonia for the Disc Golf Festival.
Yeah.
And then we had a week off after that. Then we were in Finland for the Pro Worlds. And from Finland, Doug Bjerkes, the executive director, and I flew to China for the World Games, and then back across the Pacific for me to Toronto. So I actually went around the world for disc golf, which was pretty damn cool. Yeah. But let me just say one thing. The festival was amazing. It's the major this year. It's going to be the Worlds in 2029. It's a wonderful, wonderful event in a unique facility with a remarkable host team of 4 people who are heavily involved in other sports as well in Estonia. But the Pro Worlds, led by UC Maresma and his team, that was one of the big final check marks on my bucket list. I've been pushing for Pro Worlds in Europe for quite some time. There'd been a couple of bids before that didn't win the day. But it was an amazing event. We changed the formula so that the best player in every country whose rating was over X, I think it was 935 for MPO and 825 for FPO. And the result was we had 45 countries represented in Finland,
Wow.
which was probably like double the previous record.
Right.
And that was another extraordinary thing about that event. But otherwise, you hear that it's probably the best Worlds ever so far. And, the futures will undoubtedly at some point be brighter. I know Nate Heinold has huge plans for this summer's edition. And of course, Estonia will hit it out of the park in 2029. But it really was an extraordinary event. It was an extraordinary trip because, per the notes you sent me, you wanted me to talk about the World Games. We talk. If you've seen the message I delivered on video during one of the meetings in Finland about what it takes for disc golf to get in the Olympics. I mean, it is a bit of a pipe dream for some of us. Not for everybody who's in disc golf, but what I will say is this. The World Games in China, it was the first time we were in there, the second time ever. The first was in 2001. China, the city of Chengdu, city of between 15 and 20 million people in the middle of the country in Sichuan province, with renowned for its big panda bear conservation facility, which I went to briefly when the event was over. But anyways, the World Games in China, the Chinese, as you can imagine, when they are hosting a major event, they hit it out of the park. They want to make the best impression on everybody who's coming from around the world. And it really was like the stepping stone to the Olympics, an amazing opening ceremony. Disc golf was blessed because the course was in an eco park that was literally across the street from Athletes Village.
Oh, okay.
So we are in there were 2 holiday inns. There were buffet, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all paid for by the Chinese. They paid for our rooms as well.
Oh,
wow.
And there were 250 Chinese university students who looked after all the disc golfers, made sure everybody was well looked after. It was a stage in which you felt, everybody was treated like VIPs. And, it may not be the Olympics, but it sure felt like the Olympics. And, some of the quotes I read coming out of that were that for many secondary and tertiary size sports, and with all due respect, disc golf falls into that. We are not global basketball or football or track and field or swimming. We are a next level or even a tertiary level sport, reflecting how many people really play the game worldwide, how many countries have really got organized disc golf going on, and so on. But for all these secondary sports, one of the quotes I remember is, "This is the pinnacle of athletes' careers in those sports." So
Wow.
for a lot of the athletes who were there, this is the climax of their sporting career.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching Doug Bierpack walk into an elevator, and the guy who walked in next to him was a wrestler with Iraq across his back.
Okay.
And another time I was looking at this guy, and he was a Pacific Islander, and he was one of the few athletes from the tiny island of Nauru.
Oh.
I mean, this is what we were in the midst of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. And the competition, though not perfect, the broadcasting wasn't perfect because there was a big learning curve for the Chinese in terms of broadcasting disc golf live and how they switched back from hole to hole and shot to shot. But the Disc Golf Network people were there, got them really in a good situation by day 2. And what happened was, I mean, the favorites, Team USA won, Team Missy Gannon Burr, and the Finns were the silver medalists. The big shock was that after Latvia beat Canada in the quarterfinals, they then went up against Kristen and Silver from Estonia. They were down by 2 throws with 3 holes to play, and the Latvian lady was facing a must-make 90-footer just to keep them alive.
Wow.
She made it.
Wow.
The male parked the next 2 holes to win them, so they tied them, and then they beat the Estonians in a playoff. The greatest moment in Latvian disc golf history so far. So
yeah, that's great.
It was awesome. And, what I will say to those who are saying, when is disc golf going to get in the Olympics? Well, first of all, if you go Google, what does it take to get your sport in the Olympics? You can see that it takes an awful lot. And one thing it also takes is a lot of money, because money talks when you're talking to decision makers. And the host country also at the Olympics also has the say in which new sports get into the Olympics.
Right.
Which is why it's a bit unfortunate that Frisbee sports, because it's not the PDGA who's going to get us into the Olympics, it's WFDF, the World Flying Disc Federation, because they are the member of the IOC and the governing body of Frisbee sports as a whole. They're not the governing body of disc golf, but they are the de facto governing body of Ultimate, because they organize all the Ultimate World and Continental Championships. So what was unfortunate was they somehow did not get Ultimate into the 2028 games in Los Angeles, where Frisbee sports essentially started on the California coast. But for whatever reason, I was not privy to how those decisions shook out. But you have to it's also how many countries is your sport played in? And while the PDGA now has affiliated relationships with 55 countries, for summer sports, they talk about your sport should be in 80 countries. And the other thing is there's only so many athlete places in the Olympics, which augurs well for disc golf if you're comparing it to Ultimate, because Ultimate needs teams of so many players. They generally do 6 players, mixed team of 6 players. That's what they did at the World Games, and that's what they're looking at when they, I think, attempt to get into Paris 2032. But if you want to have 12 Ultimate countries, then you're talking about 72 athlete places, plus all the coaches and the chaperone places, positions as well. Whereas disc golf, the 16 countries we had represented, 1 male, 1 female, playing mixed doubles in Chengdu, that's 32 places, plus about 1 other person per country, plus Brian and Doug from the PDJ, plus the DGN people, plus the WFDF Frisbee people, who were probably towards 8 or 10 people. And then another dimension is, how gender equitable is your sport? And while, disc golf strives to be as more and more gender equitable every year, the fact of the matter is, despite all our efforts, disc golf, the PDJ is 92% male. And female participation in the PDJ has grown from 7% to 8% during the long time I've been with the PDJ. So, there's a myriad of reasons for that. And, some of the answers are really starting to take hold. Like, if you want women to run women's only tournaments directed by women, so it's an all women's affair. They don't have to deal with any males who throw far or don't like to play with women for some reason or intimidate them. It's we watch Owen, who's just wonderful, put her mind out.
Mhm.
Uh, she was on the second card on Sunday and she blew the lead card away
Yep.
because she was the one who knew how to win the most. And some of those ladies on the lead card were trying to win their first ever
Yeah.
DGPT, and a little bit of the pressure got to them. Meanwhile, Owen just put the hammer down and
Yeah.
took home the bacon.
Well, and
So,
with everything you're saying there, Brian, there's so many good points that you brought up, and you hit a lot of the things we did want to discuss. And if we just go with what you were saying there at the end, that was even it last year, is a chance to see, as Masters players ourselves, is
yeah,
to see Own win Master Worlds last year, and
yeah.
then to go within a month later, go over to Europe and win Pro Worlds. It just shows that, yeah, if you can putt and if you've got the skill and you know how to win, you're in this game as long as you want to be in it. And it was exciting to see that for us, for sure.
And what you just said, the competitions at the Pro Worlds were another part of what made that event so great. I mean, the battle between Owen and 16-year-old Ida Letomaki from Finland, who some of us knew about, but not many of us did. I only did because I knew the stats as the international director.
Right.
But that was amazing. And then Ella shot like a 1065 round the last round, highest round ever by a lady, and came within a stroke of making the playoff. And then, of course, my favorite player, male player, Niklas, almost, was in the hunt all the way. And of course, the guy who was most expected to win his first Worlds won by one throw over Goose and two over Nicholas, and it was also a phenomenal competition. So
Yeah. And
super cool summer last summer for disc golf.
Yeah, it was. And I agree with you, like phenomenal competition, both at Worlds. And then, as you said, when we went to the championships as well, we went to Chengdu, we talked to Sophia and Thomas after that, and they pretty much echoed many of the things that you were saying about the experience for the players. When there was 16 countries, 32 players, and the two of them were part of this contingent of volunteers who were just there to help make that experience great. They came back. The only thing I think I remember Sophia saying was there might have been a little bit of rain or something, but other than that, that was the only thing she said.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no,
it was seriously humid all the time, and it was on and off rain, and it was the rainiest day was the climax day.
Okay. Yeah. And then I did look back too, and the opening ceremonies, even Gannon had a couple posts that he still has up on Instagram there. And it looked, like you said, is the pinnacle for a lot of these players, because it rivaled any opening ceremonies for the Olympics, I'm sure, with what China put together there. And just that camaraderie of not just being a disc golfer, but being part of a team with your members from your whole country. And like you said, the wrestler, and then, all of the other different sports that were there. I think it felt like Sophia and Thomas, when they were on the show, they got that experience as well. So it wasn't just we were there representing Canada for disc golf. We were there as part of Canada. Yeah.
People need to realize, we may not get into the Olympics pretty soon, but we are in the closest thing to the Olympics already. And the good news is apparently some of the analysis is in, and there were, out of all the sports, I think there were some like 28 or 29 of them. Between disc golf and ultimate, flying disc sports was the fifth most watched. And apparently we did a great job on social media, which had more hits than most of the other sports. In 4 years' time, in 2029, it's in a city in Germany called Karlsruhe, which doesn't have a course, but Doug, the executive director, has already told our German partners that PDGA will pay for the installation of the course, and all the preliminary outlook is looking very, very positive for disc golf to return to the World Games in 2029. So
that's
awesome.
Fantastic
Another
news.
encouraging sign as we move ever forward into the future.
Yeah.
That's great, Brian. That's so exciting to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bringing it back a little bit closer to home, we were speaking about all of this European and world travel that you're doing. Last year, we got a chance to meet you in person out at the Canadian Nationals out in Ontario. We really enjoyed ourselves. It was my first time going to a Nationals. Jeremy's been to a few before. You've had the chance to attend so many Nationals. What were your thoughts on how it was run out there and what the Nationals was like for 2025?
Well, I think the event ran really, really smooth. Team Daryl Banks, Innova Canada, like the sign that is on your wall right behind you.
We wanted to save a bit
He
of it.
and his team did a terrific job. The courses, I mean, I mostly saw two of the courses. The one that is near Newcastle, Ontario, and of course Daryl's course on Oat Goat Farm.
Mm-hmm.
Both those courses were spectacular as far as I was concerned. They were super, super courses. The event ran super, super smooth. There was a lot of sponsorship. I mean, those are my general impressions. I've been to a few Nationals. I mean, we really got the Nationals rolling in earnest about 2016. And of course, we had to take a couple of years off during COVID. So there's only really been about 6 or 7 editions of it so far.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it went as smooth as any Nationals so far. The challenge with Nationals, because we're such a big country, is it's hard to get all the top players from across the country because it's asking a lot from a person from the interior of BC or where, central Alberta, where you are coming from, to invest in a week 2,000 to 2,500 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see how it works out with who registers for Grand Prairie this summer.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be 85% BC, Alberta, and maybe Saskatchewan.
Yeah,
that's a fair point.
We'll get some of the best players from down east, and hopefully a few from the Maritimes. But that's what I have to say about Nationals. I plan on being there in Grand Prairie this summer. That is, you asked me where do I travel in Canada? Well, generally I only do one trip a year, and that's to Nationals. But I went to Ontario Provincials, which was about 50 miles out of Toronto in the other direction, near Guelph, Ontario, in October, because the guy who runs the parks there, the one park there, is a real go-getter who's a real forward-thinking superintendent of conservation areas in I'm trying to remember what the county is called. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
so I had the people at Chainlink, Kara, who you know because she works as PDGA social media now, and her other half, Jeff McKeegan. They helped put the course in the Kelso Conservation Area, which is one of the 3 at Ontario's, and wanted me to go out and meet this dynamic conservation area superintendent. So I had to go there as well.
Oh, great.
So I don't travel as much in Canada as you think I do.
Gotcha. That's fair. Well, I can tell you, just finishing off with Nationals from last year, the 2 courses you mentioned were great. And then Daryl and I also got a chance to play both Cedar Creek and head up to Project 15, and Gabe's in the chat as well. And what we found was we ended up getting a chance to compete at 3 courses and play at least a little bit of Haute Goat. And it was fantastic. And I had said it last year too, was Clearwater was great. Dennis and the team there put on a great Nationals, and then Daryl Bankus and Gabe and the team, they raised it up a bar. And then we had Sam and Dylan on from Grand Prairie at the beginning of the year, and they said, that's the goal. Always try it. It's not going to necessarily be better in the fact that the other one had a problem. It's always going to be trying to take that bar and just push it up a bit. And now that we've hit this high level of experience for the Nationals event, to maintain it and always give players a great time. And I think it's going to happen again this year for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm really confident in that, and into the future. I mean, the event has gotten better and better, and the stakes are high. The good news is there's more bids for the event than there used to be.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to. It's a legit bidding process. It's not we're glad that we got one bid because we were afraid we were going to get none. And yeah, and it's a privilege. It's a privilege, in my PDGA Canada to support those events and go over and help them where they need help the week of. Generally it comes down to putting out rules-related fires and things like that.
Well, not only that, I think I've seen a number of great opening speeches there at the start of a round and announcing that lead card for us as well. So that's fantastic. I look forward to seeing you do that. Now, you had also talked about Kara there. So why don't we kind of get into 2026? So as we're looking at 2026, there has been some changes with PDGA where it used to be kind of just you and your partner there working on it. But we've got some changes. Why don't we start with Kara? You said that she has taken on the role of the social media coordinator. Is that for Canada?
Yeah, no, she is PDGA Canada social media. Her contract is for a little more than 1 day. It's about for 1 day a week's worth of work.
Okay.
And I knew that. I have a personal Facebook page, but I'm not heavily into social media, and I knew that the one thing that was probably missing from our very modest PDGA Canada operation was a social media presence dedicated to PDGA activities in Canada and spreading the word on how we support the game and the sponsorship opportunities that are available for many aspects of disc golf development across the country. So I knew Kara and her other half, Jeff, who do a spectacular job running a company called Chainlink.
Mm-hmm.
They're also heavily involved in other initiatives like the Paul Macbeth Foundation. And they're just very sharp, business smart people, very very integral, and I talked to her about it, and she was prepared to do it, and she's taken the ball and she's run with it, and I think she does a great job. One nice touch that she did almost immediately, that she uses the the advantages of AI today and things like Google Translate, and every post she has is in both English and French.
Yes.
Now we probably need Inuktitut as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we'll get some more courses in the true Great White North and justify investment there as well.
Yeah.
But that was probably the key advance that PDGA Canada did in 2025, and it's continuing on in 2026. You mentioned Craig, but Craig is not involved in PDGA Canada. Craig is the new international director.
Okay, so that's
one Canuck has been supplemented by an Australian who lives in Vancouver.
So that's how things changed up. I knew there was a change.
I gave him 6 weeks worth of training late last year, and he's doing a great job. And he took over my roles in Africa, Asia, Oceania, and Latin America. PDGA Europe, I'm happy to say, stands on its own 2 feet and does not need an international director to help steer them forward anymore. They are flying on their own feet, and it is something that I am really happy to see realized. It's been that way for a couple of years now, but I can tell you that for the first 4 years of trying to kickstart PDGA Europe as its own self-governing chapter of PDGA was a grind. But we eventually got the right people, the right team together, and they are flying. And if you follow PDGA Europe in their social media, for example, you'll know that they're doing some great things.
Yeah. Well, and that's all great news, Brian, because we met Kara there as well last year, and she's so positive. Her social media skills, you can see that already coming through on the Facebook page and all the PDGA Canada posts. And then getting Craig Sheether, having someone when you're trying to fill your shoes, they're big shoes to fill there. But when you've got, such a great volunteer of the year, and everything that Craig has done for disc golf as well. If you could have found someone, you found the right person. So it's exciting to see him in that role. And we'll definitely have to get him back on the show at some point so we can see what he's got planned for.
You will, because you can talk to
role.
him about WIFDIF and the World Games and the Olympics as well, because he is also the WIFDIF Disc Golf Committee Chair, and he was the TD of the World Games in China last year. So these are all reasons. Plus, as I said, he's from Australia. He just finished helping run the Asia Tour event in the Philippines. You can see the story of that event on the PDGA cover page right now.
Right.
And he'll be back in Vancouver in a few weeks after he sees the last two events on the Asia Tour in Okinawa, Japan, and Shanghai, China.
Oh man, he'll have a lot of stories to tell too.
Yeah. There were 85 applications for the job. They did 13 semifinal interviews and 4 final interviews, and Craig won the day.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Great.
Yeah.
Well,
and the other thing about Craig, he's not involved anymore, but he was one of the founders of Can Disc Golf.
Yes.
Which is, another topic for 2026 if we have a few more minutes.
Sure.
Can Disc Golf, the prez is now Chris Ozelins, who's also the Ontario Provincial Coordinator.
Yeah.
And the great news in terms of Can Disc Golf is, after some years of growing pains, just as I mentioned in relation to PDGA Europe, Can Disc Golf is now taking off. They've got about a dozen serious dedicated volunteers on their board and on committees, and they're really starting to make some things happen. Now, what they're trying to do to become, Canada's, the equivalent of Volleyball Canada or Basketball Canada, in other words, recognized by Sports Canada, is not entirely an easy road that's gonna be achieved soon. Why? Because Sports Canada isn't accepting any new sport applications right now, hasn't for a couple of years, and Sports Canada is not in great shape. You hear the stories about financially there's not enough money for sports, and there's been some other issues going on there. So hopefully, they will get that recognition. It doesn't mean they're going to get a bunch of money from the federal government because for disc golf. Rather, the avenue there is probably once we are recognized by SportsCan, then it'll be easier for provincial disc golf bodies to gain recognition from the provincial sporting authorities, and then to hopefully get some money from those provincial sports bodies like BC Sports or the Alberta Sports Ministry or whatever it's called in your province.
No, that'll be good to see. And it's always good to see things moving forward. We did talk to Chris as well earlier in the year, and the fact that, they've taken what Craig started. And again, it seems like everyone has got this passion to build it and grow it. And they've got a bigger team, a lot of focus on it. They're meeting very regularly. It's good to see that from the Can Disc Golf side. But if we go right back to PDGA, Daryl.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, you mentioned it earlier about how important it is for us to keep growing the sport. We all know that, we play with people. We all know there's people out there that don't have PDGA memberships. I'm sure there's some people listen to the podcast that don't. Like we said, it's important to grow the sport. Can you give it in your own words kind of why it's important for the people should sign up for a PDGA membership and keep trying to grow the sport?
Well, it's a complicated question. Obviously, I have here's my PDJ jacket at the moment. But I mean,
you're the perfect person to answer.
Sport, the governing body or the global association or the big club is the tip of the iceberg. So the PDJ is really sort of like the top of the sport, but it's also home for the most fanatical players in the world, be they MA4, FJ12, or Gannonburr or Ohn-Scoggins.
Right.
So, the PDJ current membership is probably about 5% of serious players worldwide. But note, everybody is a serious disc golfer because they want to compete in sanctioned events. They're serious because they love playing on their course. It's their hobby. And they enjoy it as their recreation away from their working lives. And that's a great sport to play. The challenge is, I want as many people as possible to join the PDGA and to renew their memberships, because it's from the PDGA's point of view, that and the number of tournaments we have are the key indicators of the PDGA's success.
Yeah.
In other words, are we growing? What impact are all our efforts in the sport having? And one of the challenges right now is that current membership is decreasing. And the reason for that is the lifespan of the average PDGA member as a member is about 3 or 4 years. And what has happened is those masses who joined the PDGA coming out of COVID, when it absolutely went kaboom.
Yeah.
Those people are now leaving the sport in numbers that exceed the number of people who are joining the PDGA as new members. So there is less money coming into the PDGA, which worries the PDGA because it means it has to lay off some people occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
It can't do everything it wants to. And so there is, I urge people, especially Canadians, because what we do in Canada is we take all of the player fees from the tournaments. They don't go to the States like your membership does. Your membership goes to the States because that's the headquarters, and they build the database. They manage the organization worldwide. It has to be somewhere. And the fact of the matter is, this sport began in the USA. When I started as the PDGA administrator, the PDGA was still 95% USA. Today, it's about 74% USA. But we got to remember that the USA is a behemoth of a country of 350 million people with a longer playing season than either Canada or Northern Europe, and a lot of money. So it's not a surprise, given the Frisbee sport started in the USA, that it still predominates the overall game as a whole. It's also a fluke of history, because what if the States had become 50 different countries, and today we had a Union of American States like we had a European Union?
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't be talking about one country being 3/4 of the PDGA.
That's fair.
So, but in terms of Canada, the money that comes from the player fees at tournaments, which is, last year was over $80,000 Canadian, comes to me in Canadian dollars and is all reinvested in growing the sport in Canada. And this is the biggest sponsorship program that the PDGA has anywhere. It's what it does specifically for Canada. And this is, as a Canadian who's worked for them for a long time, when the office was in my house here, the Canadian players were going, "Oh, cool. The PDGA is based in Canada. We like that as Canadians." But then it moved back to the States, and it's sort of, we're not Americans as Canadians, especially right now.
Yeah.
Right. And so, what is the PDGA doing for Canada? Well, this was the answer when I developed the PDGA Canada program towards 20 years ago now. So, you Canadian players, the PDGA does a lot for the sport on a worldwide basis, but it does something specifically and significantly for Canada. We take that money, we sponsor all the big events in Canada. If you have a new course going in or course improvements going in and you haven't raised all the money for it, all you have to do is send me an email, and I will spin you an Interac e-transfer in your inbox.
Okay.
The same thing, we sponsor specifically women's activities, juniors activities, schools activities, First Nations activities. This is all, and the program works very well because the demand for the funds is basically the same amount as the funds that we get in. So we're not saying no to a bunch of people.
Right.
But there
That's
is a
good.
document. If you go to pdj.com, you go to the international header, you open it up, it says PDGA Canada, you click on that, and you'll see that there's a sponsorship application. It's not a formal application. It just says, this is the wide range of stuff that we are prepared to help underwrite. And this is what you have to do. You have to send me a few paragraphs. That's it. I do not like bureaucracy. I like to get things done.
Right.
So you spend a little bit of time sending me an application, and if it fits within the broad range of things that we will do, I might ask you a couple of questions, but it won't be long before the transfer it's on its way to you.
That's amazing. Yeah.
That's great.
I had a question for you about the memberships. When you said that the membership numbers were in decline, and I know a lot of people are kind of like, I've heard a lot of people panicking about that the numbers are going down, disc golf is losing members. But I just wanted to clarify, because it seems like pre-COVID numbers, we had a membership level. We saw the COVID boom. Now those COVID members are leaving. Yeah. But we're still
correcting. You're right where you're going. You're correct where you're going.
So we are still gaining members, but we're degrading from the peak. So we're not losing pre-COVID numbers, but we're just not gaining as many.
We had less current members each of the last 2 years than we did the year before, and the same thing is expected to happen this year. And that includes in Canada.
Okay.
Canada, let me just look at the annual report here, which is also available online, but just to put it to you, 2025 current members, 4,778. 2024, 5,294. 2023, 5,486.
How many did we have in 20? Do you have 2020's numbers?
Not in this specific table, but what I can tell you, because I've managed these numbers for a long time. What I can tell you is, for many, many years, the PDGA grew at 10 to 12% year after year after year, which is healthy growth.
Yeah.
Right into COVID. Then we came out of COVID by late summer 2020, because we're a social distance a sport with social distancing built into it. We were one of the first games you could play as long as you had respected all those crazy social distancing rules that were in effect at the time. And the sport went kaboom because it was one of the only games in town.
Yeah.
Now the correction is happening, but the expectation is within a year or two, we will settle back to where we were. In other words, new members and a healthy percentage of retention of current members will mean that we are growing by 5, then 10 to 12% again every year.
Okay.
And so it's almost as if COVID hadn't happened, we'd probably be at the same place we're going to be at in a couple of years. We just would have continued at 10 to 12% every year, instead of going 30 to 40% and then going minus 10% for 2 or 3 years, which is what's happening. The good news is the Canada retention numbers are higher than the USA retention numbers.
Okay.
And the European numbers are where we lost like 6% last year. Europe was flat. And of course, the rest of the world, Asia, Africa, Latin America in particular, where the sport is in its infancy, are where we also have a member program that is paying for a lot of memberships in the poorest disc golf countries in the world. Those countries are growing, but their numbers, we're talking, Asia has 1,000 members all told. Canada has current members. Canada has 5,000. The States has 100,000. Europe has 20,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why it's easy to grow numbers when you're only dealing with 800 and you're going to 1,000. 25% growth looks great, but it's only 200 more people.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, that's a good background for us on the PDGA side of it. And I just kind of makes me think too, is that you don't have to compete. It's a good way to support your sport. And when you get in the first time and you're working on getting your new disc, or I've got a package to open up, I've got my birdie club to do, that type of thing. So
I just want to head to the chat because Kevin King, part of the NADDG. Oh, that's big.
yeah, well, it's easy to read. Oh, even bigger.
What's going on here? Sorry.
Yeah.
He just wanted to say.
Kevin's phenomenal. Kevin is one of those people. It's an absolute pleasure to support the dude. There's one other thing I want to say about memberships to the people who are listening who aren't members. You know, some people look at the PDJ now, they look at the database, they look at the website, and they say, oh, it's getting corporate. It's like a big sports organization who just governs the sport. Well, the bottom line is the PDJ is people like me. We are disc golfers. We're just like every one of you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like, you know, maybe I have these roles because I worked hard to get them and I've kept them for a long time and I've done some good things for the sport. But ultimately, I'm just one of the boys in this sport.
Yes.
And so all I'm telling you people who aren't PDJ members is, look, it's not some big corporate institution. It's people who care about the sport and wanted to grow it. And if you love the sport, we're asking you to pay $50 US as an amateur member for a year.
Yeah.
You get your own member page if you play tournaments. You get your own player rating. You can compare yourself to any player in the world, even Gannon Burr.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you know, get within 100 points of his rating.
If you're lucky. Yeah. I think 200 points if you're looking at this side of the screen.
Yeah, maybe more.
Maybe more. Well, that's great. And Brian, we're about to wrap up with you there.
Yep.
We did mention there that the WIFDIF team championships will be happening in Lithuania. We heard about the team. One of the things we wanted to mention about that was we heard of all the wonderful, amazing Canadian players that were chosen for the team, and then the addition of the Masters players for this year, which was fantastic. And as we've done this podcast over the last 2 going into 3 years and getting to know the players in the country, we also realized what was a cool thing is that there was so many players that we knew that were great players that weren't on the list. And you'd say, well, why is that a good thing? And I'm thinking just seeing how deep our pro field is starting to develop. And it's not just Thomas Gilbert. It's not just Chantal Badinsky. We can go down 20, 25 deep and have really good quality players who can compete in these world events. So I think as much as...
Where did Rebecca Dawn come from? 2 years ago, you know, she was a junior, probably getting started in the sport. And now she looked like she was going to lead after round 1 on the tour last weekend.
Yeah, and then you've got like Brooklyn Okrafka hiding there in the wings that we've talked to a couple times, coming up as another junior. And we all know that Nico, if he continues on his trajectory, we've got all of these nice Alistair Robertson, right? Like we just name them forever. Yeah. So it's been great to see that over these past 2 years, is that maybe the membership numbers have decreased a bit, but the quality of players that Canada is producing is definitely not decreasing. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah. And hopefully they you know, people seeing the success of those, you know, especially the youngsters, are going to lure more people to say, I want to get more seriously involved because this sport is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it'll be good. And with the, you know, we saw too that there's going to be, we know that the adults get the Smith Lake Farms disc golf camp. We get our summer camp out there on the West Coast, but we saw that Kelso area is putting on a summer camp for kids that is focused on disc golf, but then also has all the other fun things that'll happen at summer camp. So starting to see more in those come up and seeing the PDGA supporting them. Yeah, we'll just keep filling that pipeline of new young golfers. So,
yeah,
the future is bright.
Yeah, it is.
All right, well,
join the PDGA.
Exactly.
Yes, that's the advertisement there. Join the PDGA.
Yeah. Well, that covers all the questions that we had for you, Brian. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention that maybe we didn't cover?
I think we did pretty well.
I think we did good. Well, it's been awesome talking to you. Thanks for joining us again. Thank you for the PDGA Canada 2026 update.
Yes.
Who knows who we'll be speaking to in 2027?
Hopefully me. I don't plan on. I need to keep this job for a while later. Yeah.
All
You've
right.
moved around so much, we
I'll
don't know
just-
which
I'll just-
position
I'll
you're
get-
going to next.
No job. I'll just be bored.
Fair enough. No, that's awesome, Brian. If you ever have anything else throughout the year, either have yourself or Kara shout out to us. We'll help you guys promote and push that content out to our listeners, because we always want to be supporting anybody who's making a difference in disc golf the way that you guys are. So,
Yeah. And I presume I will see you in Grand Prairie.
yeah, looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Cool.
Perfect.
Cool.
Thanks for your time, Brian.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Daryl, it always amazes me. That's the second time we've had Brian on. Of course, we've met him before. We
He's just
chatted
one
with
of the
him at
boys.
Nationals. He is just one of the boys. He is. And on top of that, too, is like he's just spot on. He knows what we want to talk about. He's got like a lot of good content. And I really think that talking to him at least once a year just gets that out to the listeners, the information that they need to hear.
Well, that's why we want to speak to him, right?
Yeah.
We like to speak to people that are in the know and that know the things that we want. It's fine for him to say he's just one of the boys, but like, yes, we're podcast hosts, but we're interested in disc golf. We get out there and play. We want to be part of these tournaments and things like that. So we're just asking the questions that most of our listeners are probably, people across Canada are wanting to know the answers to.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and essentially too, like he's made disc golf his life's work.
Yeah,
A
that's
little
amazing.
break here or there to do some other things, but disc golf has always been part of his life, and that's what we all wish for, right? To say, how did you spend your career? I was working promoting disc golf, grew Disc Golf Europe into,
Flew all around the world playing disc golf, promoting disc golf.
exactly. Started it up in all these small countries all over the place. Was at the Worlds, at the World Games, all of that.
Yeah.
So. But with that being said, that takes us to the end of the podcast. We're going to get into the wrap up. But before we get into the wrap up, we need a secret word.
Oh yeah, we need a
Chat,
secret
get
word.
in there. What's a secret word for today? This is the part of the show where we get a word from you, and you get to put it in the YouTube comments. And if you're listening to this afterwards on the audio podcast and profiles, it just lets us know that you're in the know. So we need a word, and we need a way to sneak it in there so it's not so obvious to those people who cashed out 5 minutes in.
Yeah, or just copied somebody else because they put the comment. I don't know. I like one of the boys just because if you go back and watch episode 60,
That's a OG call out.
that was exactly the same thing he said back then. Yeah, I don't know. What else could, have you got any thoughts?
What do you, you know what? I remember this is a flashback too, is for the listeners who've been listening since Brian was on before, he was the one who coined the local dink and dunk, I think, wasn't it?
No, that was Kevin Fodry.
Oh, that was Kevin
He said he would
Fodry.
beat any of us on a local dink and dunk.
Oh, but there is a key word, and I can't remember it. Brian gave it to us, and it was in episode 60. So if maybe you and I have to go back there and we'll sneak it
Right,
in.
we'd have to go back and have a
Yeah,
look.
but
at
if
that
you got
one.
another secret word for episode 119, I believe.
I think you mentioned that about the Pony Express, and you said it was the Ferry Express, and he said life. What did he say? Life lives on ferry schedule.
Yeah, on the ferry schedule.
So yeah, so,
So
maybe
the ferry schedule. That's it.
There you
Secret
go.
word is ferry schedule. Figure out a way to work that into a comment, and we'll fire one back at you as well.
There you go.
And while you're over there on YouTube putting that comment in, make sure that you've subscribed to us. You're liking all of our videos and comments. Anything you can do to help grow our social media helps get what does it help do, Daryl? Grow our social media?
What
It
was
helps us get more of these awesome guests on the podcast and able to grow it for you and get these giveaways and everything else that we try to do. After this, Around the Basket, go over to Patreon, get the link. It's free. You can join at other levels as well, and it gets you in just like Tim Plamondon. Get you a free entry into our contest that you don't have to do anything, or a double entry if you do enter it the regular way as well.
Absolutely. Who doesn't like to be entered into our giveaways?
That's right.
It sounds like it looks like so most times there's one a week.
It almost is. Every other week, at least one a month. I think we average that pretty easily.
Yeah.
So, and you know what? Everybody thinks you stick around for the secret word. Everyone thinks you stick around to hear that we got Patreon and Around the Basket happening. But what you really stick around for is the drap.
The drap.
You stick
what we
around
call
for the
it.
drap, which is the dad rap that we always do to close out these episodes. Daryl, you ready for it?
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
All right.
All right. Toronto Islands, ferries to flights across the pond.
Brian's promoting disc golf to infinity and beyond.
PDGA member since 86. What's next?
A disc golf Hall of Famer? Now that's a casual flex.
From Finland to China to Lithuania.
All that travel would make me go insania.
Thanks for all his work to helping get our sport to stick.
Maybe one day it'll be in the Olympics.
Head to a disc golf summer camp like a good Cub Scout.
We're sure you'll learn a lot, including how to chain out.
Thanks, everybody.